A biker gang drama starring Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, and Jodie Comer with an 85% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and Tom Hardy's doing a voice? Sounds awesome, right? Like a movie you can't wait to see on the big screen. You're thinking Sons of Anarchy, you're thinking Easy Rider, you're thinking Marlboro Reds and ice cold brews. You might even dust off that leather jacket to wear to the screening. Maybe slip that switchblade comb that you won at the arcade into the pocket? Well, you can't. Not anytime soon, at least. Following Disney's decision to take it off their release slate, upcoming film The Bikeriders is left without a distributor. So why make this video at all? Don't you focus on movies that are about to be released? Well, we already did the research and wrote most of the script before Disney dropped the film, so you should probably take it up with them. I guess that's what we get for trying to talk about the little guy. Maybe you should have made this one about Wish or something. Plenty to talk about there. Disney was originally set to release The Bikeriders in theaters on December 1st, primetime for movies with dreams of golden statues, but this was postponed in the face of the SAG-AFTRA strike and following the announcement that Beyoncé's Renaissance concert film will be released on the same day. This is not the first time that a concert film has forced a studio to move a release date. Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour managed to scare Universal into changing the release date of The Exorcist Believer from the coveted horror night of Friday the 13th. Although, to be fair, seeing tens of thousands of crazed Swifties is probably much scarier than any possessed girl could ever be. The tactics behind these moves are complicated, and in the case of The Exorcist did not pay off. Studios need to bear in mind who their core audience is and how the move would interact with their movie-going patterns. Would the Bikeriders even be competing with Beyoncé for the same audience? Probably not. There's almost no overlap in the fan bases. The move does mean that it avoids clashing with Napoleon though, which historically was never a good idea, just ask most of Europe. Beyond reverence for the star power of Queen Bee, insiders from New Regency felt that there was not sufficient time following the resolution of the strike to launch a substantial marketing campaign for the film. A totally fair conclusion to draw, considering they would be missing out on the reach of not only Butler, Hardy, and Comer, but Michael Shannon, Norman Reedus, and many more. Disney and New Regency's recent sci-fi release, The Creator, was also hurt by not being able to tap into John David Washington to promote. But this was not the only factor in the disappointing box office results. Their marketing campaign on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook ads highlighted the action elements of the movie instead of the more impactful character and fatherly protector dynamics that made franchises like The Last of Us so successful. Focusing on the deeper themes would have helped attract the 25 to 35-year-old gaming community, who make up a significant portion of cinema goers. Off the back of this misstep, New Regency's film and TV president Michael Schaefer exited the company, so they really can't afford another flop. The Bikeriders should hopefully learn from this and focus on story and character in their marketing. Cinema audiences also typically drop by about 50% in the first 2 weekends of December, so films are competing for a very small pool of customers. Many people have already been to the movies around Thanksgiving and are then saving money before Christmas, or already have plans later in the month to catch the latest family-friendly, Christmas-themed flick. It seems like a mid-budget film like The Bikeriders that is not destined for Oscar's glory isn't all that appealing as a theatrical release, with distributors preferring to bet on more predictably successful fare like blockbuster franchises. Although we're seeing how well that plan is going for Disney. Oscar's glory, I hear you say, but the film hasn't even been released yet. And you're right, but it has screened at several festivals, including opening this year's Telluride, and has already been seen by the Academy. That's Academy with a capital A, of course. Awards pundits feel that the film is not a strong Oscars contender, and hasn't ranked highly on the trade's prediction charts. This may come as a surprise given the quality of the cast and director. This will be director Jeff Nichols' 6th feature, all of them being highly praised. His last one, 2016's Loving, even earned an Oscar nomination for Ruth Negga. The Bikeriders is a passion project for Nichols, who has wanted to make a biker movie for a long time, but didn't want to glamorize biker culture. That is not an easy task when you put Austin Butler and Tom Hardy and Jodie Comer on screen together. As he puts it, these are not people we want to idolize, but that doesn't mean they're not attractive. Butler is continuing to take his place in what will surely be looked back on as modern American mythology. After a string of appearances on Disney Channel shows, he played Tex in Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Elvis in Baz Luhrmann's biopic, and now smoldering biker Benny in The Bikeriders. He retains the smoky, sultry voice made famous by his Oscar-nominated turn as the king of rock and roll, and adds a wild, dangerous unpredictability. Alongside Butler, Tom Hardy plays Danny, the founder and leader of the club. Hardy's well known for the variety of roles he chooses, and his acting chops are beyond question, earning him a widespread and very loyal fan base. His presence alone in a film is enough to draw a crowd to the cinema, but if you're still at all on the fence, don't worry. This role promises another classic voice from the Bane actor, who can be heard in the trailer with an almost Brando-esque breathy rasp. Hardy's roles in Capone and Peaky Blinders will definitely bring fans of gangster films to see The Bikeriders, but this would only bring an estimated $1.5 to $2 million. Not a huge amount compared to the $40 million budget, but every bit helps. Jodie Comer plays Kathy, the down-to-earth wife of Benny. Her character serves as narrator for the film as she recounts the growth of the club to journalist Danny Lyon, played by Mike Feist. It will be interesting to see whether the film being told from her perspective will water down the experience for audiences faces that just want to spend the whole time with the bikers. Comer most recently won a Laurence Olivier Award and a Tony for the one-woman play Prima Facie, but is probably best known for her Emmy and BAFTA-winning role in Killing Eve, playing assassin Villanelle. Her fans are used to violence in her work after her roles in The Last Duel and Free Guy, so we can assume that they would happily follow her into the more sinister parts of 1960s Midwestern America too. Other familiar faces round out the supporting cast, notably Norman Reedus and Michael Shannon. Reedus' turn as biker with a moral compass, Daryl Dixon, on AMC's The Walking Dead, earned him an extremely loyal fanbase who will be fired up to see him back on a motorcycle again. Michael Shannon's long and storied career includes a turn on another American period piece that follows the rise of a criminal organization in Boardwalk Empire. Overall, while the cast of Bikeriders is impressive, and there are some highly engaged fan bases, these groups are relatively small and mostly made up of TV audiences who are notoriously hard to lure to the movies. Therefore, to attract a larger audience, the marketing efforts really need to focus on the story. So what is the story? The film is based on the book, The Bikeriders, published in 1968 by Danny Lyon, which features interviews and photographs from Lyon's time documenting the Chicago Outlaws Motorcycle Club, and was heralded as one of the most powerful depictions of biker culture to date. Lyon's work even helped inspire the vision of the outlaw biker as seen in movies like 1969's Easy Rider. The film follows the rise of a fictional Midwestern biker club, the Vandals, and its evolution from a club for outsiders and misfits united by a love of bikes and good times to a much more dangerous and violent gang who still love bikes and good times. Quick side note, were you disappointed that Sons of Anarchy never got that prequel series? Well, fear not. The Bikeriders is here to fill that gap, scratch that itch, smuggle those guns, and then challenge you to a knife fight. The cancelled official prequel project would have followed the origins of the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club Redwood original, which, given the nature of the club's business and timeline, we can assume would actually be pretty similar to what is shown in the Bikeriders. Fans of one of FX's most successful shows will surely be excited about this film, and considering the series finale drew 6.4 million viewers, this fanbase could have a significant impact on the film's box office performance. This movie seems to have something for everyone. It is an authentic snapshot of a piece of Americana. It is an exploration of countercultures and how their growth leads to structure and rules that ultimately undermine the very origins of the group. It is a juxtaposition of the harshness and the beauty of life. Nichols even emphasized a love triangle, with Kathy and Danny both competing for the love and loyalty of Benny, although he is careful to point out that Danny is not sexually attracted to Benny. Our research indicates that emphasizing this triangle is the strongest position for the film, focusing on Danny's complex feelings of love, respect, and jealousy towards Benny. Really hitting the older brother dynamic is especially appealing to Hispanic and African American audiences, demographics the movie would otherwise struggle to attract. But if you're not into all that, then you can just go look at the pretty people in their cool leather jackets with the cool hair doing cool guy stuff on motorcycles. There's bar fights, crazy accents, loud engines, and no helmets. I mean, it'd be a crime to cover up that hair, right? Makes you wonder how the movie ever got insured. But I digress. It has all the pieces to be a box office success, especially on a relatively low budget of $40 million, but the creative execution will decide its fate. So, when can we watch it? Well, that remains to be seen. I mentioned earlier that Disney dropped it, but don't you worry your pretty little boots. Literally while I was writing this, Focus Features has picked up the film, and we expect a 2024 theatrical release. This will leverage the reach of the stellar and beloved cast, with the three leads combining for a staggering 16 million Instagram followers, and allow them to create maximum awareness for the film. It also lets the movie re-roll the dice in awards season. With some heavy hitters being released this year, it is not necessarily a knock on the film that it didn't place higher in industry awards prediction. A 2024 release may skew things in favor of the Bikeriders, not only in awards season, but with ticket sales as well. With so many appealing elements in story and cast and setting, it's almost easy to forget that the film simply looks stunning, and that alone may be enough to sway people who can't decide what to watch on their monthly visit to the talkies. But enough about what we think. We want to know what you think. Would you rather see Beyoncé's concert movie, or will you automatically watch anything with Tom Hardy in it? Is Austin Butler set to take over Hollywood and then the world? What do you make of Jodie Comer's striking Midwestern accent narrating the film? And is it really possible that this movie about leather-clad bikers isn't some homoerotic fantasy? Head to Popcorn to have your voice heard by the studios who make these crazy things. And if you're looking for more analysis like this, check out our last video about the hungriest of games, on screen now. Click me and subscribe.